Good morning, grade 6 learners. I welcome you to another Science Terrific episode here in Valenzuela FB Live. Today, we will learn another amazing concepts. Are you ready? That's great. So before we start, let me remind everyone to obey the following rules. First, don't forget to type your name, followed by the name of your school in the comment box below. This will serve as your attendance and means in order to acknowledge your presence in today's session. Again, type your name and the name of your school in the comment box below. Second, if you want to participate in today's discussion by answering my questions, feel free to use the comment box. If you also have questions in mind that you want to clarify, you may type your questions below and I'll try my best to answer it later. Our today's lesson is based on the most essential learning competencies in Science 6. It is to determine the distinguishing characteristics of vertebrates and invertebrates. And at the end of this session, you learners must be able to differentiate vertebrates from invertebrates. And you also have to identify and describe the characteristics of vertebrates. So do you want to play a game? I know you do. Then let's play one. This game is entitled, Who Am I? So here is how we will play it. I will let you hear a sound and you identify to which it belongs. So ready? If you know the answer, then type it in our comment box. Let us begin. Correct. That sound belongs to a cow. Next. Very good. It is the sound of a snake. Third. Alright, good job. You are correct. That is the sound of a bird. Next. To which it belongs? Yes, it belongs to a frog. And lastly, you're right. This is a bee sound. So, what do we call these creatures? These are all animals. Animals are a group of organisms in the kingdom Animalia. Animals can be insects, mammals, reptiles, fish, and other organisms that are not plants. We have millions of them. In agriculture, animals are raised to be food, such as cows, chickens, pigs, sheep, and even rabbits. These animals are known to be livestock. There are also animals that serve as human companions. These are called pets. Dogs and cats are the most common pets, but this is not limited to hairy animals. In fact, iguanas, frogs, tarantulas, and even snakes can be our pet. There are also animals that help humans in their work, like the carabao, horses, camels, and goats. The kingdom Animalia is divided into two groups. We call the first group vertebrates and the second invertebrates. And what is the difference between the two? Vertebrates are a group of animals with backbone, while the invertebrates are the animals without backbone. Also, vertebrate animals are relatively bigger in size compared to invertebrates, which are smaller. Only 2% of the kingdom Animalia are vertebrates, and the 98% are all invertebrates. Do you know these animals? Correct. These are the rat, penguin, crocodile, a goldfish, and frog. And these animals have backbone. That is why they belong to the group vertebrates. Vertebrates have 5 types. These are the fishes, reptiles, amphibians, birds, and mammals. So are you familiar with these types? And do you have any prior knowledge? You may type it in our comment box so that other grade 6 may know it too. So now, let us enter into the world of vertebrates. See this animal? This is a tilapia. Tilapia is a fish, and fish is a vertebrate. The group of fishes are the largest type of vertebrate. How can we describe this fish based on its covering? How does it reproduce? How does it maintain its body temperature and the characteristics of its limbs? Fishes live underwater. They have fins to swim. They are also covered with scales. Fish scales serves as their protection and provide effective camouflage through the use of reflection and coloration. They do not have lungs to breathe. Instead, they have gills. Fishes are cold-blooded. They cannot regulate their own body temperature. Then their temperature varies with water. They also lay eggs. This is their way to reproduce. We have different types of fishes. Some of them are edible, such as salmon, tuna, sardines, and yellowfin. Other fishes are for pets, such as tetras, guppies, and goldfish. Do you know this animal? This is a frog. And where can we usually find a frog? Is it on land or on water? Yes, you are right. Frogs can live both on land and water. Frogs are example of amphibians. Most female amphibians lay their eggs on water. So young amphibians, called larvae or tadpoles, breathe using its gills like a fish. Adult amphibians no longer have gills, but lungs and moist skin as their way of breathing. Their skin has to stay wet in order for them to absorb oxygen so they could secrete mucus to keep their skin moist. If their skin becomes too dry, they cannot breathe and eventually they will die. Amphibians are cold-blooded too. Frogs and salamanders are the most common type of amphibians. So, are you afraid of this animal? Do you know which group it belongs? This is a snake, and snakes are example of reptiles. Reptiles are air-breathing vertebrates, and they are covered in a special skin made up of scales, bony plates, or a combination of both. Reptiles are cold-blooded too. It cannot regulate its own temperature. They cannot stay warm during cold season. That's why they are inactive. They don't have the ability to sweat to cool off during hot seasons, so they have to move into the shade as needed. Unlike amphibians, reptiles lay eggs on a simple nest and live, but not all of them lay eggs. There are also reptiles that do not lay eggs. Instead, they give birth to live young. Animals under this type are the turtle, alligator, crocodile, and snake. The fourth type of vertebrates is where this parrot belongs. Can you guess what is it? You're right. It is in the group of birds. There are 9,000 types of birds. So what makes a bird a bird? Bird is the only species in the kingdom Animalia that has feathers. Feathers are made up of keratin, the same protein that makes up our nails and our hair. Keratin makes feathers relatively strong and very flexible. They have different kinds of feathers with different functions, such as for flight, for steering during flight, body covering, for regulation of body temperature, and many more. All birds have wings, but not all can fly. Best examples are the penguin and ostrich. The size and shape of wings adapted on the type of flight. The bird's skeleton is very light in weight. This helps them to fly. They also have beaks used to eat, manipulating objects, killing their prey, fighting, even courtship, and feeding their young. Their young comes from an egg. Birds are also an egg-laying animal. Birds are warm-blooded, meaning they have constant internal regulated body temperature relatively independent of the surroundings. When birds breathe, air passes through small nostrils-like openings in the beaks called nares. Air comes into the lungs and a special organ called air sacs where air can be stored. So other types of birds are rooster, pigeon, dove, swan, peacock, and many more. We are down to the fifth type of vertebrate. Here are the examples of the fifth type. We have dogs, horses, polar bears, zebra, rabbit, sheep, and rhinoceros. Can you identify now the fifth type? Okay, your guesses are right. The last type of vertebrate is the mammal. The word mammal came from the Latin word mamma, meaning breast. Mammals are characterized by the presence of mammary glands, which in females produce milk for feeding or nursing their young. They give birth to their young not through eggs, but a live birth. Mammals are the only type of vertebrate which has hair or a coat of hairs called fur. No other creatures possesses true hair, and at least some hair is found on all mammals at some time during their lives. Hair grows out of pits in the skin called follicles. Another known characteristic of a mammal is the presence of the three middle ear bones. The three middle ear bones, the malleus, incus, and stapes, are more commonly referred to as the hammer, anvil, and stirrup, function in the transmission of vibration from the tympanic membrane, also known as eardrum, to our inner ear. They are also warm-blooded, same with the birds. And aside from that, mammals also breathe through their lungs, just like what we are doing right now. We, humans, possesses all these characteristics. That is why we are actually considered as mammals. We have now identified and described the different characteristics of vertebrates. So let's sum it up. In the kingdom Animalia, where all animals belong, we have two types: the vertebrates and invertebrates. Vertebrates are the animals with backbone, while the invertebrates are those who don't have. We have 5 groups of vertebrates, namely fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. Each one has distinct characteristics. For fishes, they live underwater, therefore, they have gills to breathe instead of lungs. They have fins to help them in their movement and scales that cover their body. They also lay eggs and they are cold-blooded. For amphibians, they live both in water and on land. That's why they have gills when they are young and lungs when they become an adult. They are covered with smooth, moist skin. They also lay eggs and cold-blooded. We also have reptiles. Reptiles are mammals with scaled skin. Some reptiles are egg-laying, while some give birth to live young. They are cold-blooded too. Included in the group of vertebrates are the birds. Birds are the only animal with feathers. This serves many purposes such as protection and for their flight. They also have wings, but not every bird can fly. They are egg-laying animals, they are warm-blooded, and they use lungs and air sacs for breathing. Last but not the least is the mammal. Mammal has 3 distinct characteristics that cannot be seen from the other vertebrates. These are the presence of hair or fur, the 3 bones in the middle ear, and their ability to produce milk with the help of mammary glands. They give birth to a live young, and they're also warm-blooded. So did you enjoy our lesson, class? Hit the like button if you do. So now, let us check your understanding in today's lesson. I will ask a question and you choose the letter of the correct answer. Type your answers in our comment box. So first question, what do you call a group of animals with backbone? Letter A, vertebrates. Letter B, invertebrates. Letter C, worms. Or letter D, starfish. So the correct answer is letter A, vertebrates. Next, a group of vertebrates that has feathers. Letter A, mammals. Letter B, birds. Letter C, fishes. Or letter D, reptiles. So the correct answer for number 2 is letter B, birds. Number 3, a group of vertebrates where human belongs. Letter A, mammals. Letter B, fishes. Letter C, birds. Or letter D, reptile. So the correct answer for number 3 is letter A, mammals. Number 4, which is not true about fishes? Letter A, fishes live on land. Letter B, fishes lay eggs. Letter C, fishes use gills to breathe. Or letter D, fishes are covered with scales to protect them. So the answer for number 4 is letter A. Fishes live on land. And number 5, one characteristic of this vertebrate is that it has both gills and lungs that are used in breathing. Letter A, fishes. Letter B, amphibians. Letter C, reptiles. Or letter D, birds. So the correct answer for number 5 is letter B. You are doing great, grade 6. Alright, I know you still have questions in mind that you want to ask. Feel free to type your questions in the comment box. I will be waiting for your questions. So there is one good question in the comment box. It says there, what is the difference between an alligator and crocodile? Alligator and crocodiles are both reptiles. The most visible difference between the two is the shape of their sinister snout, or for common term, their mouth. Alligators have wide, rounded, U-shaped snout, while the crocodiles have long, pointed, V-shaped snout. It is also said to be that crocodiles tend to live on salt water, while alligators hang out in fresh water. So thank you for your question. Now, allow me to read one question again in our comment box. Why whales are considered as mammals? So whales swim and have tails and fins just like fish, but they don't have scales. Instead, they have skin and they have fur, although it is very, very few and scattered all throughout their body. And instead of gills, they have lungs to breathe. They also give birth to live young instead of eggs. And most especially, they have mammary glands, which means they can provide milk for their young. So with these characteristics, whales really belong to the group of mammals. So comments are still coming in our comment box. So please reserve those unanswered questions to your science teacher in your follow-up discussion tomorrow. So don't forget to attend your follow-up discussion. So before we end this session, remember this line from Anthony Douglas Williams: be kind to every kind, not just mankind. Mankind was made to be the steward of God's creation. Let us all do our jobs and show kindness to all His creation. So once again, I'm Miss Sheila Jane C. Tesorero, your Science 6 FB Live teacher, always reminds you to stay safe, stay healthy, and stay indoors. See you again next week in another Science Terrific episode here in Valenzuela FB Live. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for listening.